What happens when love turns into betrayal? What happens when trust, carefully built over months, is shattered by lies that were never supposed to come out? This is not just another reality TV breakup. This is the story of Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brownies. A story that started with dreams of marriage, ended in heartbreak, and turned into a scandal no one expected. From a bold proposal to public rejection, from hidden cheating to a $500,000 financial accusation, this story has everything. When Jasmine Pineda proposed to Matt Brownies, she believed she was taking the next natural step in their relationship. She wanted commitment. She wanted security. She wanted marriage. She had spoken about it with friends and family and had even hinted at it on social media. For her, the future was clear. But instead of waiting for Matt to propose, Jasmine decided to take control of her own love story. One quiet evening, with a ring carefully chosen and her heart full of hope, she looked into his eyes and asked him to marry her. The answer changed everything. Matt did not hesitate. He did not smile. He did not say maybe. He simply said he could not marry her. Not now. Not later. Just no. The silence that followed was painful. Jasmine felt humiliated and heartbroken. What was meant to be a romantic moment became a crushing rejection. Soon after, the argument began. Jasmine accused him of wasting her time. Matt accused her of pressuring him. Harsh words were exchanged. Emotions exploded. Neighbors later said they heard shouting. Friends noticed Jasmine suddenly go quiet online. Something inside their relationship had broken. Eventually, they made the painful decision to separate. Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brownies officially ended their relationship. Fans were shocked. Many had believed they balanced each other. Jasmine was emotional and passionate. Matt seemed calm and steady. They appeared different, yet somehow matched. After the breakup, Jasmine struggled. She stopped answering calls. She withdrew from social media. She tried to understand what went wrong. Why was he so cold? Why did he seem almost relieved? Meanwhile, Matt appeared calm. He did not show public sadness. Some people even said he looked lighter, as if a burden had been lifted. But what Jasmine did not know was that there were secrets behind his calm behavior. Soon, messages began to arrive. Fans claimed they had seen Matt at different restaurants with another woman. At first, Jasmine ignored it. They were no longer together. Maybe he had moved on. But the reports kept coming. Different places. Different days. Always the same woman. Then came the name, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was younger and unknown to the public. According to several witnesses, she had been seen with Matt many times. Jasmine decided to confront him. He denied everything. He called the rumors gossip. He told her she was overreacting. But then a photo appeared. One night, Jasmine received a message from someone she did not know. Attached was a picture taken in a dim restaurant. It showed Matt sitting across from a woman with long brown hair. They were holding hands and laughing. The woman was Elizabeth. Jasmine stared at the image in disbelief. Maybe it was old. Maybe it meant nothing. But more photos followed. Different dates. Different locations. The same intimacy. The truth slowly became impossible to deny. Elizabeth was not someone Matt met after the breakup. She had been in his life for over a year. That meant while Jasmine was dreaming about marriage and planning a future, Matt was already involved with someone else. Friends later confirmed they had seen Matt with Elizabeth months before the proposal. Suddenly, his rejection made more sense. He could not commit because he was already living a double life. For Jasmine, this was more than heartbreak. It was humiliation. She realized she had been competing with a secret relationship the entire time. But the betrayal did not end there. Jasmine later claimed that during their relationship, Matt had borrowed $500,000 from her. According to her, he promised to repay the money. Instead, she alleged that he spent it on online gambling. When she asked for her money back, Matt denied ever borrowing it. He rejected the accusation completely. Feeling deceived both emotionally and financially, Jasmine decided to take legal action. She filed a lawsuit against him, accusing him of embezzlement and defamation. The case shocked fans even more than the cheating scandal. What began as a romantic reality TV storyline had now become a courtroom battle. In the end, the court sentenced Matt Brownies to 1 year in prison. What started as a love story filled with hope ended in betrayal, public humiliation, and legal consequences. Jasmine wanted marriage and security. Instead, she faced rejection, lies, and a hidden affair that had lasted a year. Love turned into heartbreak. Trust turned into scandal. And a relationship that once seemed full of promise collapsed under the weight of secrets. When Jasmine confronted Matt again, this time with photos in her hands, he could no longer deny the truth. The evidence was clear. The relationship he had tried to hide was exposed. What followed was a fight that lasted for hours. Neighbors later said they heard shouting late into the night. Jasmine's voice broke with anger and heartbreak. Matt, feeling trapped, tried to defend himself. He claimed that Elizabeth understood him better. He said Jasmine had been too demanding, too emotional, too intense. But none of that mattered to Jasmine. There was no excuse for betrayal. She had given him love, loyalty, and sacrifice. In return, he had given her lies. The relationship, already broken, completely collapsed. When news of Elizabeth reached the fan community, chaos followed. Social media exploded with questions. Who was Elizabeth? How long had this been happening? Had Matt been cheating the entire time he appeared on 90 Day Fiancé with Jasmine? Some fans strongly supported Jasmine, calling her the victim of deception. Others blamed her personality, claiming Matt had searched for peace elsewhere. But no matter which side people chose, one truth remained. Matt had destroyed the trust of the woman who had once been ready to give him everything. The affair was not just a scandal. It was the start of something bigger. Because their relationship was not built only on love. It also involved money. And that next revelation would turn heartbreak into a legal battle. One thing was now clear. Jasmine was no longer just hurt. She was ready to fight. For months, Matt had managed to hide his relationship with Elizabeth. Private dinners, late-night meetings, quiet moments away from cameras. But secrets rarely stay hidden forever. His secret slowly became public. It began when a fan dining in downtown Miami claimed to have seen Matt at a restaurant with Elizabeth. At first, it seemed harmless. But the way they leaned toward each other, the way they touched hands across the table, showed clear intimacy. Soon more people came forward. Waiters, couples, strangers on the street. They all described the same thing. Matt was constantly seen with the same woman. Photos began to appear online. Blurry at first, then clearer. Matt and Elizabeth walking hand in hand through shopping centers. Sharing drinks at rooftop bars. Standing close beside his car, speaking softly like lovers. The internet reacted instantly. Images spread across Reddit, Instagram, and gossip pages. The story changed quickly. Jasmine was not just heartbroken. She had been betrayed. Some fans rewatched old clips of 90 Day Fiancé, pointing out moments where Matt looked distant or distracted. They believed he had already been with Elizabeth during those scenes. For Jasmine, seeing strangers analyze her pain was humiliating. Every photo online felt like another wound. While she had been fighting for their future, he had been living a double life. The fan community divided into two sides. Team Jasmine flooded her with support, telling her she deserved better. Team Matt argued that Jasmine had pushed him away and that Elizabeth brought him peace. The debates grew louder every day. But one fact could not be ignored. The affair was real. As the sightings increased, Jasmine's sadness turned into anger. This was no longer just about love. It was about betrayal and disrespect. But the story was about to become even darker. Because behind the affair was something more serious. A financial betrayal worth $500,000. Discovering the affair was devastating for Jasmine. But the next revelation hurt in a different way. She claimed Matt had borrowed $500,000 from her. $500,000. Money she had worked hard to save. Money she believed was going toward their future. According to Jasmine, Matt told her he needed the money for business opportunities and stability. She trusted him and gave it to him. But instead of investing it, she later discovered he had used the money for online gambling. Night after night, betting on sports, playing virtual poker, spinning online roulette. By the time she realized the truth, the money was gone. When she confronted him about it, he denied everything. He said he never borrowed the money. He accused her of lying and trying to damage his reputation. But Jasmine claimed she had proof. Bank transfers, messages, financial records. Their fights became worse. The affair was one wound. The missing money was another. Together, they destroyed any remaining trust. When the accusation about the $500,000 became public, the scandal exploded. Fans were no longer arguing only about love. They were debating fraud. Some questioned whether Matt had truly taken the money. Others believed Jasmine completely. Headlines spoke about betrayal, addiction, and financial ruin. For Jasmine, this was no longer just emotional pain. It was about justice. The cheating had humiliated her. The money loss felt unforgivable. She decided to take the matter to court. The love story that once seemed full of hope had turned into a legal battle. In court, evidence was presented. Records were examined. The private relationship became a public case. Behind everything was Matt's gambling addiction. What had started as small bets slowly became a dangerous obsession. By day, he appeared calm and steady. By night, he chased the excitement of online casinos. The glowing screen became his escape. And Jasmine's money became fuel for his habit. Addiction does not only destroy finances. It damages trust, relationships, and reputations. In Matt's case, it led to lies, betrayal, and finally a courtroom judgment. In the end, the court sentenced Matt Brownies to 1 year in prison. What began as a romance filled with dreams of marriage ended in scandal, heartbreak, and legal consequences. Jasmine had offered love and commitment. Instead, she faced rejection, infidelity, financial loss, and public humiliation. Trust was broken. Secrets were exposed. And a relationship that once promised forever ended in ruins. The courtroom was silent when the sentence was read. 1 year in prison. The words felt heavy, final, and impossible to take back. For Jasmine, it was not a moment of victory. It was a moment of reality. The man she once imagined marrying was now standing before a judge, convicted, exposed, and facing the consequences of his own choices. Reporters quickly gathered outside the courthouse. Cameras flashed. Headlines spread across social media within minutes. What had once been a love story watched by thousands had turned into a public downfall. Fans who had followed Jasmine's journey for years were stunned by how far the story had fallen. A proposal, a rejection, an affair, a gambling addiction, and now prison. Matt showed little emotion as he was escorted away. Some described him as numb. Others said he looked defeated. The calm personality he once presented to the world was gone. In its place was a man whose secrets had caught up with him. For Jasmine, the sentence brought a complicated mix of emotions. There was relief. Relief that she had been heard. Relief that the truth had been recognized.
But there was also sadness.
Not because she wanted him back, but because she once believed in him. She had invested her heart, her trust, and her money into someone she thought would protect her, not betray her. The months leading up to the trial had been exhausting. Lawyers, paperwork, interviews, and endless online commentary drained her emotionally. Every detail of her relationship had been examined in public. Strangers debated her decisions. Critics questioned why she had given him so much money. Supporters praised her strength. But none of them had lived her reality. In private, Jasmine had to rebuild herself from the ground up. She had to accept that the future she imagined was never real. The marriage she dreamed of would never happen. The life she planned had been built on lies. Friends say she spent long nights reflecting on the warning signs she may have ignored. The emotional distance. The secretive phone calls. The late nights. The defensive reactions when she asked simple questions. In hindsight, the clues seemed obvious. But love often makes people hopeful instead of cautious. Meanwhile, public opinion continued to shift. Some former supporters of Matt disappeared completely. Others attempted to defend him, blaming gambling addiction for his actions. Addiction, they argued, can cloud judgment and push people into desperate behavior. But even those voices grew quieter after the court ruling. The evidence had spoken clearly. Elizabeth, the woman at the center of the affair, also faced public attention. Her social media accounts were flooded with comments. Some accused her of knowingly being involved with a taken man. Others speculated about whether she had known about the money. She remained mostly silent, avoiding interviews and staying out of the spotlight. Whether she stayed with Matt or distanced herself after the conviction became another subject of rumor. For Jasmine, however, the focus slowly shifted away from the scandal and toward healing. She began speaking openly about betrayal and financial manipulation. In interviews, she explained how easy it is to trust someone you love. How promises of our future can feel so convincing. How manipulation often hides behind calm words and confident plans. She admitted that giving someone $500,000 required deep trust. It was not just a financial transaction. Financial experts later commented on the case, warning viewers about mixing large sums of money with romantic relationships without legal protection. The story became more than gossip. It became a lesson. As weeks turned into months, Jasmine slowly returned to social media. At first, her posts were cautious. Simple messages about strength and growth. Quotes about resilience. Photos with friends. Over time, her confidence appeared to return. The fiery personality that fans once knew began to shine again, but this time with more caution behind it. She spoke about therapy. About rebuilding trust in herself before trusting anyone else. About learning to separate love from blind sacrifice. Her story resonated with many people who had experienced emotional or financial betrayal in their own lives. The scandal that once humiliated her began to transform into a story of survival. Matt's time in prison was described by sources as difficult. For someone used to maintaining control and presenting a composed image, losing freedom was a harsh reality. Reports suggested he began attending counseling sessions focused on addiction recovery. Whether it was regret or simply consequence, he was forced to confront the damage he had caused. Addiction experts later pointed out that gambling addiction can be as destructive as any other dependency. It thrives in secrecy. It grows in isolation. It feeds on denial. In Matt's case, it did not just drain money. It destroyed trust, love, and reputation. But while Matt faced consequences behind bars, Jasmine faced the world. She had to rebuild publicly. Every new step forward came with reminders of the past. Interviews would still bring up his name. Headlines would still reference the scandal. Healing, for her, meant learning to move forward without letting the story define her entirely. Over time, public sympathy leaned more strongly toward her. The narrative shifted from dramatic reality TV star to a woman who had survived betrayal and stood up for herself. She was no longer just part of a scandal. She was the one who refused to stay silent. The relationship between Jasmine and Matt officially ended not just emotionally, but legally and permanently. There were no more arguments, no more late-night confrontations, no more hidden photos, only distance. Looking back, the story reads like a warning. Love can be powerful, but trust must be protected. Promises should be supported by actions. And when red flags appear, they should not be ignored. Jasmine once believed she was building a future with a man who appeared calm and dependable. Instead, she discovered a double life filled with secrecy, infidelity, and addiction. She lost money. She lost time. She lost trust. But she did not lose her voice. In the end, the scandal was not just about cheating or gambling. It was about choices. Matt chose deception over honesty. He chose addiction over accountability. And those choices led him to a prison sentence and a damaged reputation. Jasmine chose something different. She chose to confront the truth. She chose to fight legally instead of staying silent. And she chose to rebuild, even after humiliation. What began as a hopeful love story ended in a courtroom. But for Jasmine, it also marked the beginning of something else. Independence. Awareness. Strength shaped by pain. Love had turned into betrayal. Trust had shattered under lies. But from the ashes of that broken relationship, a stronger version of Jasmine slowly began to rise. As time passed, the noise around the scandal slowly began to fade. New stories replaced old headlines. Online debates moved on to different dramas. But for Jasmine, the impact of everything that happened did not disappear overnight. Healing was not as simple as a court sentence or public support. It was a daily process. There were mornings when she woke up feeling strong and determined. She focused on her goals, her work, and rebuilding her financial stability. She surrounded herself with friends who reminded her of her worth. She leaned on family members who had quietly supported her from the beginning. She learned to value peace over passion,